ignorant brute. I'm sorry.
Mr. President, I think they're trying the number.
You filthy bully, you filthy, you selling guy. You've not tasted karate before, eh? You war muttering boy.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
All right, we are in the war room.
That's trademarked.
Yeah.
Trademark.
That's why I do a parody. It's a parody. It's a fair use.
It's a cover.
For this episode of the War Room, we are talking about the mechanisms that make up our favorite video games. What are the most important mechanics in a video game? And what is an example of it properly or most successfully executed? Just to start off, just to make sure that we're all on the same page with it, I'll start off and just give my 2 cents on this. I think that with the majority of games, and obviously this is genre specific, I think with the majority of games that focus around combat, I think everything else must come second. No, fuck you. I think everything else comes second to combat. I think combat is combat is the closest thing to gameplay in anything in that genre, and if you don't have a fun, interesting, enticing gameplay like combat, nothing else in the game is going to pull you in, and it's not going to matter. Because if you have a poor combat system, you're probably going to check out. I don't think there's anything else that's going to hold you into a game.
Not true for me.
Then you have like a good example. My best example of this for like combat would be like For Honor. So For Honor, Slim, have you played For Honor?
Yeah.
So For Honor, the lock-on system, the fact that you're 1v1ing, the way the combat flows, where you have to match your opponent's targeting, and you do damage based on the success of your combos, I think is just perfectly executed. When I build my video game, I'm probably going to emulate in some characteristics of that.
When?
What's that?
When you build your video game.
It'll happen. I just got to I just got to learn a lot.
Besides, the game, the book, the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to build, yeah. It's on my list, the movie. The movies. Screenwriting.
I'm trying to do everything.
I had another idea of like
the Howard Hughes of entertainment.
there's a show that
locked
ended
in your room, pissing in jars.
There's a show that got canceled in
Trying to
2007.
program Tetris.
And I was thinking about it getting canceled. I was like, what would I could save that franchise. I could singularly
Me alone.
I could save it. But no,
I think there's a bit of narcissism creeping in there.
I am amazing. We have 90 subscribers.
I want it all.
We are huge. We're powerful. No, combat. Combat is the most important mechanism in any game that uses a combat system, and if it's not a good combat system, I don't think it holds.
Does Mortal Kombat have a good combat system?
I think it has a super iconic combat system.
It's combat with a K, so it doesn't really count as the...
Oh, damn. Oh,
Oh.
You caught me on a technicality.
Yeah.
Oh, technicality spelt with a K. You dick.
Okay.
That's a good rapper name.
Yeah, technicality with a K. That is a great rapper name.
Sorry to throw you off. I just got super into Mortal Kombat lately.
Well, Mortal Kombat does have a good combat system. The combo.
I already got the next one pre-ordered.
Oh, nice. With Homelander and Omni-Man.
Omni-Man? Dude, I'll play the shit out of Omni-Man. He's the GOAT.
What, 17 more years, Mark?
Think, Mark!
Okay, well, prove me wrong, Slim.
Oh, you're looking at him. You threw me off. I'm gonna go with a good skill / leveling up system, something you can work towards.
Like a skill tree.
Basically, something that will keep you enticed to keep playing the game. Because I've played through grindy games that the combat system's getting old, but I wanted to get to the end of the perk tree or leveling or see where I can get my stats to go and see how powerful my character can get.
You're like a numbers nerd when it comes to
I like
are.
to see the numbers go up.
Yeah.
You really are, yeah. I mean,
Big numbers make me happy.
I like to see them 6 digits, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've noticed that. You actually, when you try to teach me a game, you actually go into the percentages.
I love percentages
and
the big numbers.
And I hate it.
Oh,
No.
That's too bad.
No, it's fantastic.
That's
it's
too
good.
bad.
Okay, so who does it best?
I really liked. This is kind of an older game, but Torchlight. That's pretty good, like looter numbers game. I like that one a lot because you go throughout the whole game, and it just kind of it's like a Diablo-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end, you're just getting your numbers and your stats, and all of a sudden you get to the end game. Yeah, Torchlight 1 and 2 are both really good.
Not Fleshlight.
And like all of a sudden it changes. You get to the very end gear and it like changes your builds completely. It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, this one spell does this now instead.
I'm
So
surprised
then
you
it's
don't
like-
play more MMOs, to be honest.
I've played a couple. Just too time consuming.
Yeah, it's like you
So-
gotta dedicate your life
I
to
really
it.
do.
So Torchlight did it best.
That Diablo 3 did really good.
I played Diablo
really like
3,
Diablo
and
3.
I do feel like the leveling up in Diablo 3 made a lot more sense to me than the leveling up in Diablo 4.
Well, Diablo 3 was just like
Really, it's not that complicated.
It just didn't feel like any of the changes I was.
You're a FPS kind of guy.
Well, the
You're not
changes
used
I
to-
made didn't they didn't feel like they translated into the game. So even
That's
if I
'cause you made shit decisions.
and you weren't stacking your percentages.
You gotta
How are big
learn,
numbers supposed to
dude.
go brr if you don't stack them all?
Get good, cuz.
oh man, I hate Diablo 4. I hate that game.
It didn't
Those
keep
are
my
some
interest.
good examples. And another one I played a lot of was The Division 1 and 2.
Division had great combat.
It did have a really good combat.
It had,
so-
maybe that was the most important thing about it.
And that's not true.
It's almost like you wouldn't even upgrade anything if you didn't play the shoot the guns.
I like I like how the pew pews felt. Them
This
free-
one goes pew pew a little bit faster.
This one pew pews a little
This one
faster.
goes pew pew a
This
little
one-
slower, but it
stronger,
hits harder.
so,
This one has lots of pew pews.
um,
Fire freedom seeds.
yeah, freedom bullets.
This one spits at 3 bullets second.
Yep. So that's my
Shooting ropes.
vote.
That means something different. That's not what that means.
What are we talking about? Sorry. I was thinking about something else.
So if you could import like a skill tree system from one game into a different and have it translate proper, what would you like? For me, I would pull the leveling up system from Skyrim into Bannerlord because I like the leveling up system in
I
Bannerlord.
hate the leveling system on Skyrim.
Well, obviously a lot of those skills don't translate into into Bannerlord. But if they did, I think that was actually really nice.
As an RPG in itself. It's
Well-
like if they use that and everything else,
Well, Bannerlord is so in Bannerlord you have a skill. It's one singular solid line, and it goes. Do you want the top choice or the bottom choice as you progress along? With Skyrim, every skill had facets that broke off and gave you more flexibility.
Okay, yeah.
So I would like.
I was thinking about just like earning a skill
Yeah.
in order, because like you just have to use that weapon or whatever, and then you just like build it up. I
'Cause-
didn't like it.
Because even though Bannerlord has a really in-depth progression system with the RPG tree that it has, it's one line and you get a north or south choice, and they don't branch off onto their own tangents. So if you want to improve your smithing, you can't choose, I want to be great at smithing with swords or daggers or axes, and then get better as you progress along the axes path. It's you move through and your endurance goes up, or you add an extra number here, or you add this here.
I
But
like
it's-
numbers.
But there's you I'm sure you do. But of course you do.
Speaking of leveling up, Slim, what do you think of like Fallout 3 and New Vegas' way of like you
Oh yeah.
get a level up and then you put your points into whatever the long list is.
Yep.
And then every couple levels or whatever, you get a new perk.
Yep, it
Some-
was like every level you get like 15 points to divvy out how you like, and then every like 2 to 4 levels.
That was my favorite.
That was
Mostly
very
because
good,
that was
yeah.
like my first introduction to RPGs. But
Those did have good leveling systems because like every level you got points to distribute it to like a percentage of those points what you wanted. Because then you'd be like, oh, I'm 4 points away from lockpicking and explosives to get to the next tier. I can chuck it all into them. Or if
But-
you're like, well, I don't really need anything, so let's chuck it all to weapons so I do more damage.
throw it all into intelligence to the next level. You
Yep.
get even more
Yep.
experience.
I thought they did a very good job.
Yeah, that was
I
my
like
favorite.
both those leveling systems very well. I thought you could add those even to. They should have kept those and chucked that into like like a Skyrim game or.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like the Skyrims as much because I was so into the Fallout's way of leveling
Here,
up.
let's make 8,000 daggers. Now I'm a smithing god. And it's like, oh, come
You
on.
sit there at the smithy forever.
Can I just go fight a guy and level up my smithing? Why do I gotta make 8,000 daggers?
Man.
Yeah.
I think
It
I would
makes
have
more
changed.
sense, but
Well, it does, but it's not as much fun gameplay wise.
No, this is the problem with smithing engines in most games. The smithing mechanics in most games, like Bannerlord's smithing, it's also super grindy, and which is why I don't do it. But the game I tried it in, it took forever to get to the weapons that made it worth it, and by that late in the game, they're not worth it. So, if you're that far in the game where you've put in like 10 hours into a campaign or more, and your character's progressed and you've conquered a city or two, and you've finally gotten the higher tiers of smithing, you're already able to afford the best weapons in the game,
So
and
what's
you
the
just
point?
buy them. So it's like it is a really easy way to cheese the money system because you can make great weapons and sell them, but there's other ways to make money, and when
yeah,
you're
it's how
further
you
in the
get
game.
rich as fucking Skyrim.
Maybe
and
that-
also you download the mod Rich Merchants.
Yep.
So they never run out of money.
Yeah.
It's like Starfield kind of does the same thing because it's like you can, like, say you want to put in a perk to where you can sprint longer, and then like it has a challenge for you, and it's like, all right, sprint until basically you can't breathe anymore, 20 times, and then you can just sprint back and forth.
Yeah,
and then upgrade that perk again.
A leveling
But
system.
another one is like another one's like you can carry more weight without being over encumbered. And it's like have 20 or 75% of your pack full and
For
run
a mile.
1,000 kilometers or whatever.
Because you're getting stronger or whatever.
If
yeah.
if
I
you
guess.
had
And it's like, all
It's
right,
not
now you can
terrible.
upgrade it.
I mean a smithing
But you
challenge
don't have to upgrade it.
it would be
There's-
like put mini games into these skills put mini games into skills so that you have an opportunity to level up in a rapid way, but you're still playing a game. And hell, if you like the mini games that are attached to certain skills, maybe it gives you a better excuse to grind.
Yeah, but
those
there
out.
are no mini games really attached to certain skills. It's basically
That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. It's like
Oh, okay.
put them in there. Like
Have you
if-
played what the fuck is it? Not Fairy Tale. What the hell is it?
I know what game you're talking about. That's the one I was thinking of.
while you guys ponder that, let me just talk to you about the so Skyrim actually and other games like Skyrim. You get your sneak leveled up
By
through
sneaking.
by you get a lock picking skill. Isn't
Yeah.
that attached to sneak?
No.
What's
Lockpicking and stealth is different.
Okay. Well, specifically the lock picking skill.
Fable. That's
Looking it up, I was like, it's going to drive me nuts. Fable does that.
They actually have mini games in order to you're also
Yep.
earning money
And you earn
whatnot.
money with it while you're
Yeah.
doing it.
Well, lock picking in Skyrim is a great example
me
of like
nuts.
you put a mini game into this to level up that skill.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can find creative ways to do that in everything,
Was
you'll
it
be
Fallout 4 that started that? The rotation, you have you zoom in on the lock, and then you turn this one. A certain way.
Oblivion? Was Oblivion first?
I didn't play much of
Oblivion did it.
I don't
Didn't
remember.
Skyrim
Did
come
it?
out before Fallout 4?
No.
You sure?
Well, Fallout 4, yes. Fallout 3 though. Fallout 3 was
Oh.
2008. Skyrim was 2011,
Okay,
and
Gotcha.
then
Oblivion
was
must have been before that. Oblivion was like 2006.
Oh,
I gotcha.
2006, 2007,
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Oblivion must have did it first then.
Whoever invented the
Now
lock picking
now,
game,
Now that lock picking is in everything.
Everything.
yeah, because it's a good mechanic.
It is.
It
So
was.
maybe I changed my answer. No, I'm just
It's
kidding.
I'm so good at it that I never need to level up lock picking.
No, right? I got really good at it too.
All right, Cody, what's yours?
Oh, game mechanic?
Yeah, the topic we've been talking about. For
Well, we've been stuck on this for a while.
That's true.
Well, I'm a narrative-driven guy, and so I would just character choice, not in skill tree or how they use combat or whatever, but how the story evolves.
Okay.
It's like if you put a fucking dialogue option in front of me that one path leads to another path or whatever, it's like I'm a sucker for that. Telltale games and whatnot.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yep.
I like those systems as well.
That's a good one.
It's like because you guys are talking about like combat and like skill trees and whatnot, and Mass Effect 2 has a horrible skill tree. There's basically nothing there. Combat is just, a cover shooter and nothing really special. But it's the story and the story choices that set it apart for being one of like the greatest BioWare game of all time.
What is your impression of ChatGPT and AI getting introduced to voice chat or to chat mechanics and dialogue boxes in games?
That'd probably just be NPC guys, right?
Well, it depends.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what
like
dialogue boxes are. You interact with the NPC, the story progresses accordingly. But that's what the ChatGPT.
No, I meant like non-important characters. You can't like say anything and the main story changes. No way is a game going to be dynamic.
No,
enough
it's
for
just
that.
like
still pretty young.
It would just be like the AI writing the line or whatever for said character, and then a developer has to come up with those responses. But it would just, it doesn't really work unless you just get a randomized like back and forth through AIs. Like he says this.
You start a legitimate conversation with your in-game girlfriend or something like.
And then you get a choice of this, which an AI provided for you. I don't know.
Do you think it? Do you think there's a point that AI could get to that would?
I'm actually kind of really sick of the AI discussion, to be honest.
No, I mean it's here.
Yeah, I know. It's just everyone's always talking about it all the time.
Sure.
I
was just curious as it relates specifically to your.
don't know. I don't have
topic.
any tangible thing to go off of to where it's like, okay, yes, if the AI is like an AI developed AI for writing specifically and dialogue.
I gotcha.
But it can't just be like an all-around AI like Skynet and just be like, hey.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah, if it writes good dialogue, sure, why not?
Which game has the most? I would, based on my limited knowledge, because I don't play a ton of games with dialogue boxes. My dialogue boxes.
You don't play a ton of games.
Well, Bannerlord has dialogue boxes, but the dialogue boxes just determine whether or not you succeed in convincing someone of a thing. It's not necessarily. It doesn't affect the game necessarily. Now, the games you play, it can significantly affect the game. It seems like KOTOR is the one that has the most significant impact from those decisions.
Oh,
yeah, early BioWare, basically.
Burn the world
any
to the
other
ground.
games. Like Jade Empire, KOTOR, Mass Effect.
Who did it best? It's kind of what I'm getting at.
BioWare. As a company?
Well,
Or
as a game. Who executed it best? Or what was the best execution of the tool?
I got to say Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
There's just so many outcomes, and like if you just don't make the right decisions,
The last
can end up
mission,
dead.
you can have all of your crewmates survive,
Or
none
all
of
of
your
them
crewmates
die.
survive, half of them survive.
And what's
it
even
just kinda
better,
changes.
it's a continuing story. So it's not like you can go into 3 and you'd be like, everyone's fine. Like, no, if you lose everybody, they're not alive in the next game.
Right.
So it matters.
I miss that.
That was actually really cool because I
Dragon
picked up.
Age tried that shit, but they put it on like dragonage.org, and you got to set up a fucking what did you do in previous game, and you
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
No, but Mass Effect 3, I played Mass Effect 3 and I
Yeah, you skipped 2. 1 and 2.
It had what did
You
it
have to
just
play
come
the
out?
trilogy.
I don't have to do anything.
No, you have to.
I am the king of my own
You
decisions.
can't just go straight to 3.
Because you're not the boss of me. I'm the
everything.
boss of me.
You sure about that?
Now I'm having an existential crisis. I don't know.
But yeah, no. Story and narrative and changing the game based on your choices, changing the outcome of the narrative based on your choices. That's all me, baby.
Okay.
Love
And
that
then
shit.
Slim's is the skill trees system.
Yeah.
Mine is the combat system.
Yeah.
I'm go ahead in the chat. Go ahead and vote for me. I think
chat.
this is easy dub. We'll take that walk.
I mean, combat does like I'm playing Starfield right now, and it's Bethesda game, and usually their combat sucks ass.
Yeah.
But this one actually is really good. And I was actually surprised and taken back. And it's like, damn, I could just play this as fucking a combat game.
Yeah.
It's so good. So, yeah, you can have really good combat and just forget about everything else as long as it's fun as fuck.
Yeah.
Or you could have, like, building out your character in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, don't really care about the story. It's like, yeah, even all three of them have their own advantages and whatnot. It just depends on the player that you are.
Yep.
It's like, I like stories.
Yeah. So I guess
Tell me story.
a better way to ask for audience engagement on this is, why don't you in the comments throw out your favorite game when it comes to combat, your favorite game when it comes to skill tree, and let us know which game had the best dialogue / story narrative that you enjoyed. Let us know. We're curious to see what your guys' thoughts were. We are going to wrap up this episode of the Third Party Podcast and the War Room. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us along the ride. We had a lot of fun talking about this one. We will leave it there. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and share the video around on Instagram and social media. We will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Deuces.
Peace.
Bitches and hoes.
We did it.
Bows. We're heroes.